Oh my God.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Division BMNS, I, Ronak Raji, your Program Quality Manager, welcome you to yet another session of Wednesday Wisdoms. Today, again, it's going to be a very important session because a lot of us have again undergone a lot of changes during this lockdown. And I remember that when I joined Toastmasters long back in 2011, there were literally an army of people around me to help me with whatever queries that I had, as and when I joined Toastmasters. And often during this time, when you are at your home attending virtual meetings, I'm sure you might find yourself lost if you have joined recently. So we decided that this Wednesday Wisdom, we will dedicate it to solving a lot of queries and generally answering a lot of doubts that one might have when you join during the lockdown or during this virtual meeting period, if I may. Today again we have a very special Toastmaster who's going to take us through this session. Someone who joined Toastmasters fairly recently, I would say, back in January of 2019. But in this less than about 2 years' time, he has really made a mark. He's one of the most hardworking and sincere Toastmasters that I know. Someone who knows his stuff, someone who lives by the IRSC values of Toastmasters, and someone who is always around to help whenever you require help. So please put your hands together for Toastmaster Ashish, who is going to help, who's going to conduct the session today. Toastmaster Ashish is the VP Education of Thane Toastmasters Club, and in his professional life, he is a business development manager on weekdays in a startup and a teacher on weekends. So definitely, he's a man who wears many hats. So with a huge virtual applause, help me welcome under spotlight Toastmaster Ashish Khandual. Toastmaster
Hello.
Ashish, you can, yeah,
Good
it's
evening. Can you hear me, Donna?
yes, you're loud and
Audio and
clear.
video both are fine?
Perfect, perfect, good to know.
All right, great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday Wisdom series. This is session 007 for all of you. And of course, thank you so much, Rona, for that warm introduction. And before we begin, let's just understand what's going to be the framework for this entire session for everyone. I'll first try to share my experience and try to walk you through what this Toastmasters is all about and maybe some few things in detail. And we'll try to cover it up in about 30 to 35 minutes. Post that, we'll open the floor to all your questions and we'll try to take it them from then on so that each and every question is answered. So let's get to the point directly. Ronak, if you can please confirm if my screen is visible once before I begin.
Sure. Yes, it's visible now.
Oh, thank you so much. So here's the quick agenda for everyone. We'll first be understanding what is Toastmasters and of course the pathway which forms the crux of the entire education curriculum. This will give us a macro perspective on what Toastmasters really is. So we'll be spending the first half of our session understanding the first 2 points and of course the speech contests and the opportunities in Toastmasters in detail that will form the second half of our session. So let's get right to it. First, what is Toastmasters? I'm sure the moment you would have joined, all of us would have asked this question, and of course, it doesn't give you any straightforward answer. It can come to something like this, or this, or maybe something you're just very confused. And I was at the same place as well, but just to describe it in a very simple way and in one line, it's just a place for public speaking and leadership program or development, or however you want to call it. And this would again from the crux, there's two aspects. One is public speaking, and the second one, which is the leadership aspect. And that's how both things are, intertwined. The two aspects are very closely connected. Let's understand them one by one. Let's understand the basic structure of Toastmasters International. Right now, all of you would be part of some or the other club, all right? And that's where we are right now, at the bottom level. If you take few of these clubs together, let's say three, four, you get an area. If you accumulate a couple of areas, you get a division. Accumulating multiple division gives you one district. Just to remind everyone, we are part of District 98. Accumulate districts and you get region, and finally the world headquarters, which we call the Toastmasters International. This is roughly to give you an idea about what we are part of, and it spreads across the length and breadth of the entire world, and it's a huge, huge platform. Now, you would have heard about this term quite a lot, like pathway. The moment you would have joined in, you would have heard in your meetings as well. People are referring to that this person has chosen this pathway, this person has chosen this pathway. Like every program that you take, it gives you need a framework to carry on in that path. And that path in which you carry on in your journey to become a public speaker or a better leader, that program, or rather the educational program, is called as pathway in the purview of Toastmasters. So Pathways is a Toastmasters education program, and the moment you join in and you would have enrolled, you are entitled to get one path for free upon registration. But kindly note, you will have to log in your credentials, go into the website, take an assessment 10, and then choose your path. However, considering the scenario of pandemic, Toastmasters International has a beautiful gift for all of us. This is for members. This is the fourth point on the slide. This is for members who have, who will be renewing for October cycle till 31st of December. They are entitled to choose one another path till March 31st of 2021. For further details, kindly connect with your respective VPEs and they will guide you on the same as well. Now, the education program that Toastmasters follows has 11 different parts, with the 11th part, which is engaging humor, being the recent add-on. On the left side, you would be seeing 5 core competencies. Okay. Now you can focus, like public speaking, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership, etc., etc. Now, in every path that you take, on the right of every name, for example, let's take the first scenario, dynamic leadership. To the right of it, it's given 1, 2, 3, 5. That means, should you choose this path, the skill sets that you would be tested upon, or rather what you would develop, would be first, second, third, and fifth. In that connotation, you would be able to see this path. Again, this document is available on the website as well, and you can easily refer to it, or kindly get in touch with the XCOM if you need any further details on the same. You can read about these paths before you choose a path also, so that you have better clarity as to which path excites you more and the journey that you want to take in there. Now, you would have you have gotten an idea about the pathways or the education curriculum. Now that we have the education curriculum, what do we really do about it? For that, we need to understand the anatomy of the club. By that, I mean, what exactly happens in every meeting over there. So you would see that this diagram that's there on your screen comprises different parts of bits and chunks, and it covers to each role holder present in a meeting and the work that they do. Although you would have already seen or might have gotten an idea about it, let me just walk you through very briefly on this aspect. Let's come, I'll start with the speeches and I would go clockwise. That is speeches, table topics, and then to evaluations. Okay? A, that's in brown, that's the speeches. Of course, like I said, the pathways that you choose, every member who's coming up is supposed to give the speeches from those education program that you have chosen. That forms the crux of it. Coming to next, the table topic segment, in which we have the two major parts. That's table topic master, the guy who gives you random topics on stage and makes you sweat. And the second one, the person who goes to stage to speak on those random topics. Then we come to the crux of what Toastmasters is all about. That is the constructive feedback and the evaluations. Now, the evaluations have various aspects, evaluations of speeches and of role models. For speeches, we have the evaluators, as you can see, and we also have different role models, timer, R counter, grammarian, some clubs have auditor as well, some have listener as well, but the TAT or the tags are the official roles that we have as per TI guidelines. So this forms the various roles within each and every meeting that might be occurring for each and every one of you. Now, which one should you go for or who to take? In what order? We will come to that a bit later, where we'll discuss in detail like how to begin, which will come towards the end. Also, the club is run by the excom officers, which are seven in number and eight if you include the immediate past president. The role of these officers is to provide a supportive environment to the club and facilitate in forwarding the rise values of Toastmasters that Toastmasters Ronak just mentioned before as well. Again, I'll be giving you a brief about the club officers role in some time. Now, by listening to all of this, you might feel overwhelmed as to how is all of this really possible. You have to make speeches, you have to take roles. This is on top of you being a student or a working professional from Monday to Friday or Saturday even. So how are you really going to do? And for that very same reason, we have the mentor-mentee program in Toastmasters. The mentor-mentee program is a special uh, aspect of Toastmasters. Over here, what happens? The moment you join, the VP Education allows you a mentor, keeping various factors into consideration. Kindly note this aspect can take some time, and in some clubs it happens like within a week, but in some clubs it does take around 3 to 4 weeks as well, because it's dependent upon the availability of the mentor who to. Now, what this really does is for you to be able to look up to that one another person for your journey in Toastmasters. For example, you're keen about taking that first role, but you do not have an idea of how you're going to execute it. Have a word with your mentor. If you're not clear that you're supposed to give your very first speech, but what should be the content? How should you deliver it? What are the points that you should be covering? Body language, so many aspects. Just have a word with the mentor. But please do keep this thing in mind that mentors also have another people as their mentees. So try to respect the time for the mentor as well, and try to make their work easier. How? For example, there are official scripts for each and every role. Second, there are also multiple videos available for each and every role, free of cost on YouTube or any other program. Try to do some homework from your own before you go to your mentor so that that time gets reduced and you start focusing on the higher aspects of your delivery, which are actually important and will save time for you as well as your mentor. So do get in touch with the VP Education if you have very recently joined, and if you have already been allotted your VP, please start the journey as soon as possible. Now, So is Toastmasters all about just coming into meetings every Sunday or Saturday or whatever time your club organizes meeting for you? Or does it mean something more as well? Of course, it means a lot more, and that's why we have the speech contests, which are sort of like a tradition at Toastmasters. We just do not like to come every Sunday and get better. We also get slightly competitive, and we want to compete with the best in our clubs and then at higher levels as well. That is one way of actually testing how far you have come from the time that you have really joined those models. So let's get an overview of the speech contest. Also, it's the speech contest times across Mumbai. Now, we have four contests that happen in Toastmasters. There's a fifth one as well, which is the Tall Tales contest. Let's understand the first two, which is the humorous speech contest and the evaluation speech contest. Both of these contests happen in the October cycle. Just to inform everyone in the audience, we follow two major cycles. One is from October to March cycle, and second one is from April to September cycle. Now, the humor speech contest and the evaluation speech contest usually happens in the October to March cycle, and this must have been happening or might have already happened for you in your respective clubs. Of course, as the name suggests, you would have already known about them, so I wouldn't get into the details of that. Uh, to just give you an idea, of course, in humorous, the objective is slightly different than a normal speech. You're trying to focus on making your audience laugh. So that forms the crux of it. And of course, in evaluation, the regular evaluator role that you see in your respective clubs, now you're supposed to do it at a competition. Now, the next two competitions, which are the table topics and the international speech contest, this happens towards the March to somewhere in the February to March period. And of course, the table topics are the usual table topics that you see. It's the same pattern and the international speech contest. Now, why is it called as the international speech contest and not just the regular speech contest? It is so because this is the only contest which goes up till the international level. Remember, I showed you that structure at the beginning: area, club, area, division, district, etc., etc. So the first three contests, which are the humorous, evaluation, and table topics, did go up till the district level. That means the maximum level one can reach and win would be the District 98 Championship, which we are all part of. But the fourth one, the international speech contest, it goes beyond the district. So, you go to region quarterfinals, semifinals, and then to the World Championship of Public Speaking. There are numerous videos available by the champions of World Championship of Public Speaking. Please go to YouTube and do have a look. It will inspire you for the good. Now, as I said, the speech contest, it starts with club, area, division, and it goes to district level. Kindly note this is the level where three competitions end. Just to repeat, humorous, evaluation, and table topping contest. Beyond this, we have the international speech competition, which has three additional levels: the regional, semi-finals, and the World Championship of Public Speaking. This is the basic structure which goes. And to reach anywhere, you will first have to be the winner in your very club contest. So do start taking the roles and participate in the upcoming club contests in your respective clubs. Now, coming to opportunities. Now, of course, coming to Toastmasters itself is an opportunity, but what more does it really offer? It's not just, like I said before, it's not just a place where you come every Sunday and you keep on improving. It sort of makes you feel like part of a bigger family, and there's more to it than what might seem in first glance. Let's have a look at it. The first aspect was focused on the public speaking, and right now we'll be focusing on the leadership aspect in the Toastmasters journey. So these are the two aspects. The first is the levels of leadership at the club level and at the district level. Remember, I told you about the seven officers who help you in running the club? Those are your club officers. And the district officers, I'll give you a brief structure in some time. And of course, we'll talk about the Club Incubation Center, which is a recent District 98 initiative and what it is all about. Now, leadership opportunities within the club. Of course, you would have heard about the XCOM. People say, XCOM, have a word with XCOM. XCOM handles this thing, XCOM handles that thing. So let's understand what are the different roles in XCOM. Of course, I'll be giving you an overview because this is something you can handle. And of course, let's look at slightly on the right hand side. So let me do one thing. Let me start with the Sergeant at Arms that you can see. It is at 5 o'clock in the picture, and I will go clockwise, explaining about each and every role. Okay, so Sergeant at Arms, of course, the person who is the logistical head in your club, respective club, takes care of all the small things to ensure that the meeting happen possibly well. Coming up second, that's treasurer. This person is the money man or the money woman in your club and will handle and take care of all the finances and make sure that they are in good stead. Next is the VPPR. This person is the face of your club. Everywhere you are being represented, this is the person who will represent of what your club is, what your club is all about to the outside community. Next is okay. I'll come to VP education later. Let's look at secretary. It's at 4 o'clock. Uh, Now, the secretary is the person who is responsible for the upkeep of each record or data. For example, who is to ensure that whether a meeting happened or not, it's the responsibility of the secretary, who actually we would have seen releases the minutes of the meeting, for example, who all took roles, etc. Next, with that VP membership at 2 o'clock, VP membership is the person who's responsible to bring you inside the club. So, since all of you would have joined in some capacity or the other, I'm assuming you would have interacted with the VP membership of your respective club. This person is responsible to maintain the balance of members in your club. Now coming to BP education, which is at 10 o'clock. BP education is responsible for all the educational goals. Remember pathways that we saw some time ago? Whether a person is going in their education curriculum and doing it truthfully, for any help that you need, this is the person who takes care of the educational commitments in the group. And finally, the president, I call it the spinal cord of the club. This is the person who's responsible for each and everything and takes the ownership of guiding an able team of the executive committee. And of course, this executive committee is decided in through election, which would be happening in your club. Some clubs do it for 6 months, and in some clubs it is for a period of 1 year as well. So that's a brief about the executive committee. Now, so at a club level, we have seen. So now let's look at the district, what more it really offers. Let's say you have done well at the club level, and now you want to up your ante by doing something at the district and help rather more clubs, from your performance. Then you can aspire for something like this. So initially at the district, we have the trio, which is the district director, program quality director, and the club growth director. So we have one district director, we have two program quality directors, and we have three club growth directors. Then for each division, we have one division director. For each area specifically, we have one area director. And of course, then we have the club officers, which are also called the EXCOM of your respective club. And we have an area and division level extended team. For example, this initiative is for BMNS, a conglomeration of three divisions together. So this is an extended team which has been created to support the main officer. Now, to maintain the upkeep of these things, we also have administrative officers' roles over here, which involve the newsletter, parliamentarian, logistics, and the PR manager over there. So this is in brief about what more or how much higher can you really think and aspire to go at the leadership level. Should you be interested in any of these, kindly read about the Club Incubation Center. This is something which has happened recently. Like I mentioned before, it's a District 98 initiative. So kindly get in touch with your respective BP education and try to ask them more about the Club Incubation. Now, going beyond the club, or rather going beyond the regular meetings, you keep Sunday, sometimes it might get routine. Let's try to spice it up a bit. What can you really do? The speech contest, yes, but here we are not just talking about the speech contest in one part. We are talking about speech contests in other areas as well. Try to be champions from other clubs. See how they are conducting their meetings. Go to different clubs, attend their meetings. Try to see what is it different that they are doing that you are not. Try to bring the best possible practices in your own club, and that way you will uplift the entire game and enjoy the whole process as well. So every speech contest has multiple aspects, or rather, multiple people who perform a role to bring it to fruition. First, of course, is the contestants. We need the contestants to be able to do well. Then we have the contest chair, the person who handles the entire meeting, or rather, is the host. Then we have the MC, who is the master of ceremony, or somehow who provides that environment that the contest can be done in a free and fair manner. We have the judges who are kept secret so that the sanctity of the entire process is maintained. We have the ballot counters, timers, sergeant at arms, and of course the audience. Let's talk a bit about the joint and the special meeting as well. The joint and the special meeting means sometimes two or maybe more clubs might come back together to form something really nice. This is usually done so that there is an exchange of speakers, evaluators, and we get to learn from each other as well. Of course, we do have some special meetings. For example, the district might come up with something where we have some new educational curriculum, or some dignitary is giving a speech on something. Try to look out for these things. Your BP education would be posting uh, posters about this information. For example, we had one special meeting which was the power of one, in which the meeting was conducted in multiple languages. Yes, it was not just in English, it was in multiple regional languages as well. So try to look out for these meetings, that might give you some different flavor in Toastmasters to attend and get excited about as well. And a part which I mentioned before, visiting and participating in other clubs. It's very important. Sometimes we get too comfortable with the home environment, and it's better to challenge yourself by going to different clubs and deliver your speeches or participating in front of a different environment and trying to do well over there as well. Kindly be on the lookout for these things. For the, please reach out again to the VP Education, because he's the person who can, you know, then approach the VP Education of the clubs that you want to go and try to do something for you. Okay, so we have seen the leadership roles at the areas, division, districts, learning opportunities. Just to add on, something like this, the Wednesday Wisdom Series is happening, every fortnightly Wednesday, and it is trying to give you something every, whenever it comes, there is something or the other, and it happens every Wednesday, fortnight, every 15 days from 9 to 10 p.m. You can try to attend these things and try to extract the max where people from different clubs come in, and you have the opportunity to interact with them and learn from them. Of course, the area conference and the division conference. Now, once somebody wins at the club level, there is an area conference in which the best of the clubs within the area compete. This would be happen. This would have already happened for majority of the clubs, and we have the upcoming division conference where the best champions from our area would compete at the division level. It is scheduled to happen on November 21 and November 22. Kindly block your date for the same. We'll have the best champions competing over there. And the annual conference of the district, which is the best of the division, compete at the district level. The District 98 annual conference is called by the name Eloquence, and it usually happens in May, June of 2021. So these are the paths that you can actually use to connect with people from outside clubs and see the champions from other clubs as well. Now, first things first, all these are big talk, but what do we really do when it comes to starting? First things first, attend the meeting regularly and try to observe a few things. For example, let me take scenarios. If I assume, let's say you have joined very recently, or you have joined but you have not been regular. Now, if you have not been regular, you will always be afraid about taking that first step. And if you have been regular, you would always be thinking about that right time to do something. So first, just observe for 1 or 2 meetings as to what is happening. At the third meeting, try to get in touch with your VPE and initially ask him to allot a mentor. By the time you are being allotted a mentor, kindly do not wait for the for the mentor to be allotted and you starting your journey. Start your journey. Start with taking some roles. It could be anything. Timer. Start with the tag roles. Timer, counter, grammarian, or whatever that excites you. Second, log into TMI website and read the project objectives thoroughly. This is something which I have seen a lot of members not doing it. The TMI website is a treasure trove of information. Trust me, if you read each and everything, that will give you an encyclopedic knowledge of everything there is to know about those molecules. All you have to do is just log in and read about everything that is given over there. Third, keep some ideas ready for the icebreaker or your very first speech before getting a mentor. See, please try to understand that getting a mentor is absolutely fantastic and a fine thing, but it should not happen that if I'm not getting a mentor, I would not start my journey. Like I said, the VP education has multiple factors to look into it before he or she would allow you a member. So try to have some framework. The icebreaker is about you, it's the very speech, and the project objective says that you're supposed to introduce yourself to the club, right? So try to think about what you want to speak about yourself that that explains who you are, why you are the way you are in about 4 to 6 minutes, and then maybe have a word with your mentor. That will chuck away first level of discussion, and you can move into the higher aspects of delivery and the content part of your speech. Fourth, level up the roles you are taking with the help of your VP, your mentor. Do not get stuck in one part. Sometimes grammarian role seems too good and you keep taking that role again and again and again. Kindly do not be afraid. Every role is designed keeping certain aspects in your mind. The more roles you take, that's the breadth in which you are being tested. So kindly do not shy away. What's the max that can really happen? You may not perform to the best of your ability. That's absolutely okay. It's a place of collaborative learning, and we are welcoming everyone who wants to make mistakes and learn and get better. So take the help of your VP or the mentor to try to always up your game. For example, you have taken this role, try to take some other challenging role, maybe 2 weeks down the line, and consciously keep preparing for it. And you will see yourself get much, much better in a short span of time. And last but not the least, I know it might sound cliche, but that's just the hard truth of almost everything in life. Practice by grabbing every opportunity you see or you get it on either stage or screen. Just come out there and speak. Sometimes you might be prepared, sometimes you might not be prepared, but it's okay. Take a learning experience. You should know that if I'm preparing, what's the level I can perform? If I'm not prepared, again, what is the level that I can perform? And the most important thing I would say is analyze your performance. And again, this is something I'd recommended to everyone, even in my own club, that to analyze your performance. Now, why does this become important? You come up on stage, and yes, we do take feedback from one member or the other, but try to have an in-depth conversation, and that's where a mentor really comes in. Okay? Try to have a recording, or if you're performing right in front of your mentor, that's fantastic. Try to analyze, like, where could I have gotten better, what could I have done differently, and what are the things that I should be doing to get better the very next time. Once you analyze the small nuances of every performance that you take, be it for timer, counter, grammarian, or some other rules, you will start seeing the difference uh, every time you come and perform on stage, actually. So that's about it. And if we have any questions, I hope we are on time. We will take it. I hope Ronak will help me with that.
Yes.
Ronak, how are we
Right. So
taking the questions?
so what we'll do is, I think anyone who has any question can just unmute themselves and ask the question. We will, because there are lesser amount of people in the room right now, meeting room. So we'll do
Sure,
it that way.
sure, sure.
So just
So
feel
we'll take
free
it
to
that.
unmute yourself and ask the question.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashish, for the wonderful and informative session. I would like to ask one question. When I visit the TI website, I
I think
hope I'm
Abhishek, you're
audible, right?
cracking up. Toastmaster Abhishek,
Is
you're
it better
cracking up.
now?
Can you just? Yeah, it's much better.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you, Toastmaster Ashish, for the wonderful informative session. I had I have a very simple question. Like when we are very new to Toastmasters, it seems that there is a lot of information, you know, like when we visit the TI website or if we go through any resource. In the beginning days, it seems like there is a lot of information. So, what would you suggest for a beginner, if I have to ask?
Just to add to that, when you're saying information, are you referring something to the material available on the website, TMI website in general, or any scripts for that matter, just to have some clarity?
Yes, also the material, but again, apart from that, there is an overpowering, like when someone begins his Toastmaster journey and he's not very aware about all the aspects of speech. And then the writing of script begins, the
Right.
evaluation. Then the beginner is kind of overpowered with this idea that I have to incorporate so many things and improve on my next speech. And how am I going to do that? Especially if we take in consideration the humorous speeches. People who struggle at humor, they get a bit overpowered, like how am I going to incorporate humor? Is it going to be humorous to the audience?
Got that part. Got that part. If I may ask Abhishek, like, have you already begun your journey? Have you given your icebreaker, or are you looking forward to it?
Yes, I am on my level 1 project too.
All right, got that one. All right, I'll try to answer your question. And of course, if I'm missing out on anything, I'll request Ronak and Pratik to add to that as well. Well, Abhishek, to answer this question, of course, there cannot be one correct answer to something like this. Yet you might feel initially that the amount of things around you are too much, and they might be burdening that way. But see, it is designed keeping a structure in mind, that might help someone. For example, initially, if you think that I have to incorporate so many things in my speech, yes, you might feel, a bit bogged down. But my focus would be initially when you're beginning, try not to focus on these aspects and try to focus only on the project purpose statements that you see on the evaluation speeches. The problem comes when you try to compare yourself to other speakers in the clubs who are already at level 3, level 4, or are already distinguished Toastmasters. When you see them, it's different. I would say see yourself from how you joined when you were, just before Toastmasters. For example, for me personally, I would just dread going to stage. That was my bet. The moment I would join, I would not focus on body language, this and that. And various facets of public speaking right in that one speech, I would first just go and begin. Maybe I'm gonna clasp my hand. I'm going to move around the stage. I will do multiple gestures as well. I won't feel comfortable, but that's okay. If you're not able to incorporate 10 things, you would be able to incorporate two things, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Focus on those two things, try to get them better. Everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses. Try to find your strength initially. See what are the aspects that you naturally feel good at doing. Then try to find those one aspects where you feel you could improve by taking feedbacks from the evaluators and try to incorporate them one by one. And it's absolutely okay. And nobody has become champion overnight. And if you speak to any district 98 champions as well, they will give you scores of incidents where they have failed, but they have tried to improvise again and again and again. In fact, just to share one bit, I was having word with the district 98 champion. Once, and he also said that he has revised his speech, more than 50 times, and that's what it takes. Even champions that much. So we are just beginning. So I would say take one bit and slowly try to incorporate that one. It doesn't have to happen overnight or very soon, as others might expect. Go in your own journey. It's absolutely okay. Hope I answered that question. Ronak, if you want to add something, please.
So I think Ashish pretty much hit the nail on its head. Abhishek, I would just like to add one more thing. I think there's a very powerful adage which goes like this: like when you're writing, your first, what rather the preface of your novels, the person next to you is writing probably the last chapter of their life. So in Toastmasters, it is very similar to that. If you go to a stadium and you see Sachin bat, the very first day you cannot really replicate the strokes that he's playing. So just take it like per meeting, per day, however you want. Each speaker is different. And I know for a fact that there are people who are brilliant when it comes to humor, and then there are few people who are brilliant when it comes to invoking inspirational emotions, etc. So find your key strength, work on it. There is no rule book which says that you need to put everything together one step at a time, and I think it will just help you. So I know for a fact, sometimes you see so many people around you trying so many different things. Just take one day at a time, just focus on one thing and just try keep working on it, and I'm sure you'll be at the end of the at the end of it you'll able to incorporate everything together. That's about it. I hope this answers your question, Abhishek. If is there anything that, yeah, I think he's just written on. Great. Next question, anyone else has
I want to answer. I want to ask a question. For a
Sure,
new
Abhi.
member, yeah. So for a new member, what would be the ideal first step to start their Toastmasters journey? I mean, whether to take up a role or to participate in the table topic or the first icebreaker speech, and if it's a like if you, and after how long can one take up the first role? That is my question.
Okay. Uh, First of all, thanks for asking this question. This will give a structure to many members of the audience as well. First of all, I would recommend. Again, there are no fixed criteria or anything. This is just for experience we are sharing to each their own. I would recommend initially you can first start by observing a couple of meetings, 1 2 meetings. Just come and observe, see what is happening. Look, observe what every person is doing. Then if you feel, because that way you will get an idea about how the role is being performed. Once you observe 2 or 3 meetings, you will see different styles in which people are presenting, and then you will get a structure of that. Then I would suggest you can begin with one of the roles. By this time, I think you would be allotted a mentor as well. Have a word with your VP. Try taking up, one of the role holders, supporting role holders in a meeting. For example, the timer, counter, grammarian, auditor, etc., etc. Try with these roles. See what you can do it initially. Uh, Over there, then you can up your game for that. What ideally many people do, and also something I suggest is maybe you can take up these roles, and maybe 1 or 1.5 months down the line, you can think about your very first speech. Now, unless and until you start about this, your mind would not start operating in that part. Like I said, there is never a right time to do something like that. The objective behind this is once you book something 1.5 months beforehand, you will try to use these roles as a stepping stone to that final first speech, which would be so special for you. So all these supporting roles will actually help you boost confidence and will also give you a time guideline. For example, timer accountability. They give you somewhere between 1 to 2 minutes. If you take the table topic master, uh, TMOD or general evaluator, you will have to spend slightly more time during the meetings as well. When you take up these roles, that will make you more confident about going then for the very first speech. So my recommendation, you can start with some roles, and in the meanwhile, keep in the background that you have to develop yourself for that very first speech. And once you start with the first speech, then the engine just keeps on running. So then you will find your way on your own, and of course, you will be interacting with other people as well. So they will be having a word with you and helping you out with that. But again, this is just a recommendation. I've seen people directly go and give their icebreakers as well. It depends on how confident you are, what you feel about yourself, and how you want to carry yourself in this journey. That, Ronak, if you want to add something to that.
No, I think that's pretty much what I would want to just say. And in fact, the best thing is with the first speech, a lot of people have this thing that what if I go wrong in my first speech? What if I forget? The best part is that first speech is an icebreaker, which is essentially about yourself. So the only person who knows that speech in its entirety and the content is the speaker in itself. So even if you make mistakes, that's your life. I mean, that's perfectly fine. So as Ashish said, just take 2 3 maybe smaller roles, and then you can start writing your speech, touch base with your mentor, and take up a slot, and you can deliver your icebreaker. That can be the formula for beginners.
That
Thank
answered
you.
your question.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Ronak, uh, Nigel here, Ashish as well.
Hi, Nigel.
So yeah, my question basically is to either of y'all or even Hardik. It's a little bit more advanced sort of a question. So the thing is, a lot of times in clubs, there's a tendency of, say, you have one or two really good speakers being there, and they tend to kind of mentor or even in a way inspire the members of a club to be able to speak better. Now, when you have these people that are really that good, uh, they are no longer, for some reason, they do not renew, or they are no longer a part of the Toastmaster Club. You have a lot of people that are not really at a really good level of speaking and therefore cannot really mentor the members within that club. Or I mean, they can, but they cannot really push the members, to improve on a certain front. So in a situation like that, how would you approach mentoring and how would you approach club quality in a way? Is my question clear?
Yes, I would request Ronak if you can take this up or even Hardik.
Right. So basically, Nigel, what you I mean, I'm just trying to understand the question. You're saying that if there are seasoned Toastmasters and experienced members, if they leave the club, then there is no one to actually further the mentoring process, right, in the club.
Yeah. So the question is, how do you solve a situation like that?
Right, right. So, what and Hardik, please jump in. If you want to add anything. But typically, in terms of quality, what and one of the best thing about Toastmasters is it's one of the most symbiotic environment. So, this is a common problem which is faced not only by the old clubs but even the clubs which are starting new, right? Because suddenly you won't have someone who's experienced. Most of the members are new. That's where
True.
actually you can actually seek help from other club members, maybe clubs which have been around for some time. There are definitely Toastmasters who would be ready to come to your club, give certain some speeches. Maybe you can even have mentors from outside the club also. You can have a lot of help that can be taken from senior members outside the club, the area director can actually help you a lot over here. Maybe the area director can ensure that there are some members who can be like probably dual members, or who can mentor the club in all. And plus, in fact, in division BMNS, we have also started initiative wherein we have certain positions like club angels, wherein you will have seasoned Toastmasters who will be mentoring a club from just a starting point of view. So let's say a new club is started, we can have seasoned member just come in, talk to the members, solve any questions, motivate them to take more and more sessions. You can have joint meetings with bigger clubs. So all of these are some solutions wherein you can actually keep the members motivated, and also ensure that the quality is maintained in the club. So this is pretty much what you can do. Hardik, do you want to add anything to this from a quality perspective?
So,
Hardik,
yeah, Nigel.
yeah, Hardik, if you could answer even this part of the question. Yeah, so the thing is, one of the things that I've noticed in particular also is if and when we do get members from a different club to come and mentor or help a club, oftentimes you will find that the people do not really commit as much as they do within their own club, and so you see a sort of within their own clubs they are active unless there's sort of some sort of recognition that is given to them, okay, from TI, what, in a way. So one of the things that I've noticed is that clubs tend the senior members tend to not want or not effectively participate in that process of mentoring clubs that are not doing well. So how would you tackle this aspect?
Thanks, Nigel. So I understand where you're coming from, and so I'll have your response in two parts. Ronak has already covered a part of it, where you can
Yeah.
reach out a lot of members across, and we have initiatives like the Angel Award, the CIS that's going to be launched by District 90 in
Oh,
Bombay. We have the Mentorship Circle, which we have started recently, where we are actually using Mentorship Circle as
yeah,
a tool to connect mentees and mentors across clubs of 55 clubs in Bombay. So we have
okay,
done starting a pilot from this month itself, and we're doing the cross mapping from this week as well. But that's a very
okay,
broad level and a long term, things from a cross collaboration. The fact that you mentioned that a lot of people may not be interested to help members outside. I personally have not seen that, uh, but it could be a challenge. It could be a geographical challenge as well. Earlier, from the fact that it was physical and mentors could not probably travel to those meeting locations, clubs, and support them. So
yeah,
that shouldn't be a big issue this time. But I think the larger worry for me is for the fact that we start having this celebrity status given to some members in the club, and the fact that the club disorients once they leave.
yes,
Toastmasters and our platform is more of an ongoing basis. Nothing is permanent. Not the club
correct,
mentors, not the area directors, not the club officers. So the
correct,
mentors or the celeb status cannot be permanent. You have to keep moving it. When I joined my club 4 years back, today I'm Moses, one of the most senior members in my club, and I help them. 2 years later,
yeah,
there'll be someone else who has to pick up that battle. So the challenge I see is in terms of that we are dependent on a few members to run the club. If we start uh, looking at this as an opportunity to lead and develop next line of mentors, we don't need an expert speaker, communicator, leader always, right? For my
true,
first level, for new Toastmaster who is joining the platform, what you saw in the presentation today was something very simple and basic. You give that member those 3 to 6 months. I've just shared a link on the group as well on the chat section where we have drilled down the journey over the first 12 months of a member. You don't need a world champion or a district champion to come and mentor you for every speech. It's about being comfortable on the stage, having a conversation over here. So I think my larger worry over here will be that we need to start building that the next line of mentors and leaders wherever we are, however we are. The idea of doing this sessions of having an extended leadership team in Bombay is again to build the next set of leaders that tomorrow on 30th June, my term is going to end. All right, I will not be a division director, you will not be an area director. There's someone
Yeah.
else who comes and takes it forward from where you've left it. But that happens
Okay.
only when you've molded them and trained them along with you during the year, right? You suddenly tell them on 1st July, now you're a mentor, now you're a leader, and they have never been exposed to this, then that
Yeah.
becomes a worry. So I think 2 points to keep it simple again. One is
Yeah.
that someone who has been in the system for 6 to 9 months, identify them as new mentors and start asking them to mentor a new member. At least the first level, the first 3 4 months, they definitely can do that in terms of the icebreaker, the tag team roles. That will
Yeah.
also give the confidence to that member to start grooming his or her skills to become a better mentor and better speaker themselves. As a mentor, also, I learn a lot from my mentees, for example. Second, in the short run, you can create a mentorship pool. What we have done in Bombay, I will share the link and details with you offline as well. That we are rewarding these mentors. We have asked them that if you help two mentees within your club and two mentees outside your club to complete a level, we will reward you at the division
Yeah.
stage. There is no official credit, but reward recognition is definitely possible that we can do from our side. I hope those answers your
Oh,
questions.
okay. Great answers, solutions as well.
All right.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much,
Nigel.
Hardik.
Back to you, Ashish and Ronak.
Thanks, Nigel. Yes. In fact, we'll just take one last question because we are almost nearing the end time. Anyone has a question, please shoot it right away and we'll just take that last question.
Yes. Relating to the question earlier asked by Toastmaster Nigel. So when we bring speakers from other clubs or when we have joint meetings, and the new members who join in a struggling club or a club which has got low membership and is trying to improve the quality, the new member kind of feels a sense of disbelief that, oh shit, I joined this club, I should have joined that club, because they, after 2 3 meetings, they realize that the better speakers, the better evaluators are being brought in from other clubs, while the club which I joined is kind of struggling to improve. So how can we instill that motivation and faith, that binding factor in the new members, that no matter what, I'm
I think Abhishek dropped out.
I lost in between. Did he
Uh,
yes,
get
yes.
dropped
I
off?
think, yeah, he just got dropped out. But I think we just got a gist of the question. Ashish, you just basically, since you're the VP education, I'm sure this is a fairly common question that many people might face. You can just quickly answer this and then we'll close the session.
Yeah, sure. I think Abhishek is back. Abhishek, would you want to add to that or shall I continue?
So yes, it was that sense of disbelief in the club and the excom that the member develops when they realize that the good speakers are coming from outside the club.
Okay, fine. I think I got this part. Okay. First and foremost, you have to have some faith on where you are right now, and please understand the reason behind bringing better speakers or however you want to call it from outside is for the members who have a learning experience. And what you will feel since you mentioned about a new club and where you said you're struggling on some aspect. I would rather say try to form a camaraderie, amongst the members over there. Because once you have that sense of ownership, then you'll try to see this whole thing from a very different aspect. And every club goes through this phase at some aspect or the other. You will join one club, you'll find some better speakers in another club. You'll join that club, you'll find better evaluators in other clubs. And once so this cycle would keep on going and there would never be one right place. And that's the reason this mentorship and this learning experience is not restricted to one aspect or just for your own club. It's open from other sides as well. You can learn from outside and try to implement in your own club. You do not have to be at the best place with the best possible mentor to make you the best possible speaker as well, right? You can try to extract the essence and try to pass it down to that way, because if everyone starts thinking in that direction, then a club would never reach to the level a club reaches for long shot. You take any clubs, Thane, Mumbai, etc. Across Mumbai, they would have been at some day where there would have been less than 10 members in each of these clubs. And those people would have thought of the same aspect as well. So learning should not be restrictive in that one. Yes, there are people who are coming, there are advanced speakers coming from that one, but they would have developed themselves as well. Rather than focusing on how they reach there directly, ask them about the journey, ask them about how they went from A to Z, and focus on that aspect and try to build that in your club. And I think it would help you. I hope that answers, and Ronak can add.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Ashish. With this, we would like to bring this session to an end because we are almost at the end time right now. In fact, we are well past it. Thank you so much, Ashish, for taking up this session. I think while it looks seemingly easy, this can be really difficult because there are so many aspects of Toastmasters, and I think you did a fabulous job at actually covering most of it in this 1 hour. In fact, your half an hour of session that you had. Thank you so much for taking time out, and thank you so much for everyone who joined in, who's watching this live on YouTube right now. I'm sure all of you have something to take away after this session. If you have any queries, please write into us, and we'll be Ashish can probably help you with those queries, or any of us from the leadership team can also help you solve those issues. And again, this brings an end to today's Wednesday Wisdom session. The next session will be on 18th. Again, we'll be announcing the speaker and the title and the topic very soon. Thank you so much for joining. And with this, let us